Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. Delighted to welcome you back to the channel this Friday evening. I apologise, I'm a couple of minutes late. I'm always late, in fairness, but there is a reason today. So obviously I was away yesterday and I've come back, and when my son's been gaming or streaming or something, my webcam is not working. So bit of on the fly stuff. I'm using a different camera and away we go. It just takes a bit longer to set this camera up and I need to keep remembering to look at the camera and not at the screen where I normally look. But there we go. That's my problem. That's not your problem. How are you all? Everyone happy? I've very mixed reaction to the news that I went up and saw Omar Rhys yesterday and filmed a chat. But look, I expected that. I know that. Like, I get it. It's not going to be for everyone. And that's okay. Not everything is for everyone. I just think, right, like there are a couple of people. I had one particular private message, which I won't share who is from and stuff, but like, unbelievable. Honestly, like the abuse and stuff is just wild. Like anyone would think like the guy's not a nonce or nothing, like, you know, it is what it is. Like, but look, I had a few comments saying I shouldn't be giving him a platform and blah, blah, blah. Look, my whole thing on this channel and other channels is that I speak to people of different jobs, different things. Obviously, this is Cardiff City channel. I speak to people related to Cardiff City. And if you're saying to me that I shouldn't have just taken the opportunity that I was given and I was invited to speak to him and chat to him, and it's weird, like, you know, I get it. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. That's okay. But I don't get the hate towards me giving him a platform. I don't know. It's weird, like, you know. But some people are all right about it. Some people not so much. Ultimately, you're never going to please everyone. I like to think that my content speaks for itself. I like to think that the way I am speaks for itself. I try to be as genuine as possible. I give a lot about myself away that maybe I shouldn't, and it is what it is. But anyway, on to much more interesting things. There is a lot of different things going on at Cardiff City Football Club. In my opinion, all eyes are on the board. They have to back this manager, right? And that doesn't mean that I'm saying they should back him because he's Brian Barry Murphy and because I said that they should get him involved all that time ago. Whoever the manager is now, after this long drawn-out process over the summer, they should be backing the manager because we've just been relegated. Now, I like the focus on young players. I like to focus on the academy. I like all of that. I think it's a really good thing. I think it's probably 18 months to 2 years out overdue. But that's, you know, let's not look at the negatives. Let's look at the positives, right? They are finally going to focus on the younger members of the team. But, and this is a big but, I really think that going into this League One season with a squad that is predominantly, like the way it's looking at the moment, the oldest player is probably going to be Perry NG, and we are going to have a lot of young players. Because at the moment, as far as I'm aware, and I will say, they're being very clever to. What's the word? They're being very clever. They're being very good at stopping the leaks in terms of the transfers and who they're speaking to. They were very good at that last year, and I gave them a lot of credit for it. The bits and pieces that I've heard is a lot of players who we're speaking to are super young, like between 18 and 22, bar one, who's a winger. Now, this is where the problem lies is, yes, if we can keep all the players under 25 and we can promote a couple from the academy, I'm well happy. But you still need some experience in certain areas. We've lost Callum O'Dowda today, which we'll discuss in a bit. Callum Robinson is injured. depending on who you speak to. Perry NG is legitimately injured, and I expect Perry might stay, but I don't know. Ryan Wintle is experienced, but is Ryan Wintle going to start every week? I don't think so. Like, what I'm hearing about Eli King is he's really impressed the manager so far, and he's exactly what we need in terms of energy and aggression and legs. So that's a good thing. Maybe Brian Barry Murphy will pull a rabbit out of the hat with these young players, and he'll put a captaincy on whoever, and it'll get the best out of them, and then it'll all sort of progress from there. But I had a discussion with someone yesterday who was involved in football at a higher level in Cardiff, but predominantly anyway, and he was saying, you've got to trust the process, and if the academy kids are as rated as highly as what the word on the street is, then they'll be fine, and they'll go, and it'll progress from there. But he then said, Alan Hansen famously said, you can't do anything with kids, can't win anything with kids. Yeah, but those 4 or 5 class of 92, which went into the first team and went on to do incredible things, they also walked into a team which had Peter Schmeichel, Eric Cantona, Steve Bruce, Gary Pallister, Paulins, maybe, like Brian Robson was around. Like, these people were very experienced people. Now, am I saying that we have anyone on that level in terms of experience or personality or mentality? No, I'm not. And ultimately, as I said I can't remember which video it was now, probably the one about captaincy, but it might not be. Not all leaders have to be experienced, and there might be some leaders in there who are from young. Dylan Lawler's a leader, but he's 18. He's not going to play every game. I wouldn't have thought. Maybe he will. It's about experience in terms of the dark arts, as an example. Say, referees not having a good game. An experienced player knows how to manage that a little bit. If players are going down really easily all the time, winning free kicks and the refs falling for it, young players might get frustrated with that and lash out. Players winding them up, being in their ear, blah, 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 they might get a bit thing there. You need someone in the hub, in the centre of that team, who's been there and done it a little bit, who's played the game, who can put his arm around or whisper in those young players' ears, like, come on, guys, just ignore it. That's what they want, whatever. Like, it's tricky. Like, for me, I think the ideal player is the lad from Wrexham, the centre-back, O'Connell. I really do think he's the perfect profile. He's got the perfect level of ability. He's played a very high level in League One terms, like he was in the League One team of the year. He's 27, 28. He's a ball-playing centre-back, so he suits the way the manager wants to play. He played for the manager before. Like, he ticks a lot of boxes, and Wrexham supposedly are willing to let him go. He's a player I would be looking at. But as I know, which could be, and I say again, last summer they did a real good job of keeping their transfers very close to the chest. Couldn't think of the word. But yeah, like, that's my little opening tirade. 10 minutes, not tirade, opening gambit, should we say. Gambit this Friday night. But let's have a look at what you guys are saying in the comments. Let's see who's in the house. Steve Davis, yes, mate. How are you on X? Evan, welcome, my friend. Mark Cox, evening. Evan says a 3-year deal is no joke for a manager. I think Tanner's finally given in and said to BBM, just get us back up so I can sell this club for an extra 30 million. Yeah, maybe. Richard, evening, mate. Says evening. Zach, evening. Josh, my favourite, says I look younger on this camera. Excellent. Well, that's because this camera is a very clear, high definition. So it gives a more realistic portrayal of me. Rhys says, evening, Rhys. How are you, mate? Listening in from Lanzarote. So there you are. Anyone watching from further away than Lanzarote? Special points. Zach says, your content's top tier, mate. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. A lot of effort goes into all of it. And it's very time consuming, which is why the memberships are absolutely vital to making it happen, and we need to get them up. Evan says there's hate even if you cure cancer. People like to complain. No, look, mate, I get it. Like, I understand it. I wasn't prepared maybe for some of the comments that were directed at me, but most of them were private anyway. So I don't really care. It was probably a bit of surprise. But it is what it is. Rhys says, yeah, I won't put that. I'm not controversial enough. Richard said, as you said, he was set out to fail. Looking forward to the interview. Yeah, mate. And Richard, I want to say this again, mate. I don't want to go on about like this interview, but I want to be clear to people, right? I said it to members before when I sort of spoke to them about it on a show a couple of weeks back. And I said it again last night, and I said it again in a post. If people are expecting him to be like this blockbuster piece where he's going to be like slagging off the club and Ken Jew and this and that, that's not him. Like, he's not that type of guy. He still refers to Cardiff as we. He wants the club to do well. He's learned a lot from it. He talks about some of the mistakes he made. And I say he doesn't criticise the club, but I don't know. I'll leave it for you guys to decide. But like, he's not like going to come out and just like call everyone a bunch of useless pricks. He's not that type of guy. And like, I am also not going to go up to his house and ambush him with a load of like loaded questions and stuff and put him on the spot. Like, that's not me either. One, it's unprofessional. And two, like, I started podcasts to speak to people, to get to know the human beings that they are and hear about their journeys and stuff like that. And I wanted to get an insight into how he got to where he is, what he's been through, where he's been. And it's quite interesting. I learned a load of stuff that I didn't know already. So I was interested. But again, I'll say, like, people might expect one thing. I've tried to be clear about it. Josh said people will moan about anything. Rhys really frustrated me, but he was only a piece of the problem, not solely to blame for relegation. End of the day, he's still a human being and a decent one by the looks of it. Yeah, mate. Honestly, right? And I've seen some of it. Some of the stuff that he would get like on Instagram was wild. Like, some of the stuff that people were saying, even like around his dad and stuff like that, like mental, mate. And I think I even said during the interview, I'll never be able to put myself in a place where I message a stranger and start abusing them in the most horrific way possible. Like, I don't understand that mindset. Like, we've all been in dark places. I've been in places where I wanted to end it all. I've, done things I shouldn't have over the years. And thankfully I got through it. And some people don't. But I've never thought of just messaging a stranger a load of abuse. So maybe it's my age. I don't know. I just don't get it. JT says, I wouldn't trust Paddy and Ken to get milk from Tesco's. Never mind, get transfer window right. Me neither. First and foremost. However, how can I word this without getting myself in trouble? Ken Cho is going to be down. He just is. He's going to do his best to fuck up every single negotiation possible. It's just who he is. It's okay. Don't think he does it on purpose in most cases. Paddy the boys. Look, right. I have heard again he's a nice guy, but in my opinion, from the outside, he looks like a guy who's out of his depth. Now, will he be there for the long term? I have no idea. But I know that Brian Barry Murphy has brought his own guy in who is helping with the recruitment process. And Brian Barry Murphy has told the club that he wants his people. Like, he wants people that he wants, not necessarily who the club want. Jason Jones says, I look forward to an interview with Rhys. Thank you, mate. And thank you for becoming a member, Jason. I appreciate you, mate. Thank you very much. As I said the other day, every single membership makes a massive difference, like a massive difference. Josh says, position of the more experienced. I believe it's a winger, mate. Mark says, got to be balanced in the squad. Yeah, mate, 100%. 100%. It's got to have balance. And I'm happy to build around a lot of these young players. I think there's one or two who people think saying like put him in the first team, put him in the first team. Some of them I think should go out on loan. Like I think Louis Giles should probably go out on loan, even though I like a lot of his qualities. I think he could do with like League Two, National League, getting battered about a bit and honing his skills. But it's not to me; it's up to the manager, isn't it? At the end of the day, Eli King has done his loan. He's done League One before, so he knows it. And I think he offers a very different skill set to what we already have in our midfield. He's got more energy. He's got explosive sprinting, which we do not have in that midfield. We have some good technical footballers, but we do not have explosive actions, like explosivity. Is that a word, explosivity? But that's like what he brings. He's got a fantastic attitude. He's gone out on loan and just done his business. And then he's come back, and I believe, I am under the impression that certain members of the hierarchy would have preferred to send Eli King out on loan, or maybe even sell him this year. But I also believe that Brian Barry Murphy has been very impressed so far. But it's only been a week. That might change. At the moment, if I was trying to guess on the feedback that I've heard, if I was trying to guess our side, or like our 11, Eli King would be in the sort of defensive midfield role. And if I was trying to guess, I'd say we'll be looking for some wing backs maybe, but isn't it? Jade, I've lost my place. Josh says he's not surprised by King's as impressed. He's got a great attitude. Yes, he has, mate. Rhys says, I like BBM. He's trying to have as much time with the squad before deciding on who to sign. Yeah, there's definitely an element of that, mate. The other thing as well is we're notoriously bad sellers, and I'll get to that with Callum O'Dowda's price in just a second. But like, the guy just signed a new contract, by the way. So, I'll tell you what, I'll ask you, because I don't think it's been publicised how much he's gone for. How much do you think is a good price for Callum O'Dowda? Or how much do you think, not even a good price, how much do you think is a fair price for Callum O'Dowda? And we'll talk about it in a minute. JT says, I believe Robertson's legitimately injured. Man, get injured, get out of bed. It's like, it's not his fault, is it? But like, it is funny, isn't it? Because it's true. Evan says, the great thing about youngsters those size, they'll listen to Brian Barry Murphy and they'll give it 200%. However, you need a few experienced heads, centre back like Bud Duffy from Norwich, for example. Yes, a great shout, mate. Experience in the right places. I don't think we have to have loads of experience. I don't think, like, I know some people think we need to bring in an experienced midfielder as well as a defender. Like, centre back is the one, I think, because our defenders are so young. It's how they deal with pressure, though, isn't it? It's like sometimes as well, like you chuck a youngster in, one youngster struggles with the pressure, and then you chuck another different youngster in, and he's on fire and he just takes to it like a duck to water. It's different. Every personality is different, isn't it? Like, could I use an example? I'll use my oldest son as an example. He doesn't play football anymore, but when he was younger, he's a big boy. He was being 6 foot since he was like 13, but he was real good keeper. Incredible shot stopper when he was younger, especially. Got picked up by Cardiff and he was in their like development squad for a bit, but every time he played a match, just went to pieces. Every time he played a match for Cardiff, absolutely went to pieces. When he was training with the keepers, really good. When he played for his grassroots team, he was man of the match most weeks. When he played for Cardiff, even at a young age, absolutely just went to pieces and couldn't cope with the pressure because he felt like every game, even at under 8s, 9s, 10s, it didn't matter. But at every game, he just went to pieces because he felt like every mistake or any mistake, and that was his football career over forever. Now, ultimately, in the long term, don't think he was quite at the level, but you never know because he might have developed and got in if he'd been able to cope with that pressure. But my point being, every individual is difficult. There'll be other keepers or other people who would go in and they just thrive under pressure and they thrive under that thing. It's just different. And it's how you don't know how they'll cope until you put them in the situation. And Cardiff City is high pressure. Mark says NG was injured first game of the season. Rhys says, if you look at things from a step back, we're letting go a lot of the older players. Only Reno and O'Dowd had any mobility. Hopefully he's looking at speed and mobility and transfers. Oh, he definitely is, mate. 100%. That's the biggest issue with us, with this squad as a whole and as a collective, is the lack of mobility, the lack of aggression, and the lack of explosive speed, like out-and-out pace. So he's definitely good looking at that. But I just think you need some experienced heads in amongst those youngsters. And they might come. Look, there's free transfers. There's lots of different things. And Josh says, I'd love Cody Dramer back. He can play right back, left back. A little bit more experience than the others. Already here, but can still enjoy and grow. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Dramer was one who's come up a while. Hull City are in trouble as well. I guess with that as well, is Cody Dramer can play on the left and right. I think we needed a left back anyway. As I said, I think Louis Giles will probably go out on loan, but I'm not a manager. But now that O'Dowd has gone, that only really leaves Bacon. Tucinoda's not up to it. He's going to go. So it only leaves Bacon on that left-hand side. So we're going to have to sign a left back. Unless they maybe, if we're going to play with wing backs, maybe they think that, I don't know, an Ollie Tanner or someone, or Louis Giles can do it with a little bit less defensive responsibility. I don't know. Rhys Lasky says Dramer's a no-brainer. Mark says raid Sheffield Wednesday and get Barry Bannon on board. Knowing Cardiff City's luck, we'd finally sign him and he would literally he can't move. Like, he just would lose it all, like, you know. But Alex says, if we don't sign any experienced players, we won't do anything. That's the concern, mate. And look, like, ultimately, right, football fans are not patient. It's just the way of the world, especially in modern football. And yeah, they'll give the academy lads, they'll give them more time and stuff to settle, and they'll just let them play to a certain degree. But like, if Cardiff get off to a bad start and we're looking like not good, pressure's going to be so high. You need to have some experience with those younger players. I'm glad we're focusing on the players under 25, because I believe they are better players. They are our better players, but we need some voices to guide them, especially when you look at the coaching staff is quite young as well. There's plenty, but I will also say there's loads and loads of time left in the transfer window. And I will also add again, last summer they were very good at keeping a lid on leaks. So there we go. Paul Sweeney, welcome, mate, says banning of Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah, available. Be nice. He'd be a good little head to drop in. And yeah, he was someone who actually came up in the conversation yesterday, but in a tactical way. But I'll leave that. So it's but interesting. Like, he's a guy for sure. Was she watching? Yeah. Well, Josh says his partner stormed out. She's had enough of watching after I said it. Well, you know, these young looks, and she's watching in the other room, mate. That's what it is. Mark says, I don't do social media. It was toxic on the ads. It is hard, mate. But I need social media. Like, I can't do what I do without it. So it is what it is, isn't it? Oh, Alex, you little tease. So I'm going to skip a couple of comments. Suze is there. I'll say hello to Suze. Hi, Suze. Callum O'Dowd knows how to leave in style. Such a wonderful parting message to the fans. Yeah, a couple of hints in there if anyone picked up on them as well. But he is he's just a quality guy, isn't he? I wish he was, I don't know, like just a little bit more younger, because I thought he was a real good example to the young players last year. Yeah, I don't get any of these references, I'm afraid. Sorry, people. There's a couple now. I don't know what they are. What's the story? Morning Glory? Well, yes, indeed, mate. Bit jealous of those people. Jason says, yes, I welcome. Glad to be a member. Yes, mate. The members are what keeps the dream alive. Allows us to do what we do. Might allow me to paper over the bloody underneath that Ian Brown poster. It does my head in every time I do a show. And you can see it even more with this camera. I got soundproof it to go with it, and I just haven't got around to doing it. So Alex D says, Colwell for captain. That was the rumour, wasn't it, today? I did say that the other day. I said, because of the way, it was more because of the way that Brian Barry Murphy spoke about him in his first press conference. I was listening, and it was like he was trying to almost put him up there as like the face of the new era. And then I was thinking, a lot of the managers, right, who Ruben's had, they haven't quite been able to get the best out of him consistently. Why? Well, you could argue that some of them, he hasn't had a defined role. You can say he hasn't had runners around him, or he hasn't had like that continuity of playing week in, week out. There's all these different reasons that go into it. So we're giving him the captaincy and saying, like, you're the guy. You're playing here, wherever here is, and you're the guy. You're going to lead this young team. You're the guy. So you've got to take these games by the scruff of the neck and be the guy. Because I think what he needs, and look, I don't know him personally. I don't know what he's like, but I think he needs a bit of arrogance. And I think he needs a bit of like, yeah, fuck this. I am the guy. We all know he's got the ability. We just need him to go and do it. So I wonder whether giving him the captaincy and saying, right, go be the guy. It's worked before for players. And people will say, oh, it doesn't work for flair players. Well, Matt Letizia was a damn good captain. I'm not sure what he's up to these days, but like, he's a damn good footballer, and he was an unbelievable captain. Trying to think of some other like flair players. You know, Cantona was a captain. Shearer was a captain. I don't think in my opinion, I don't think Ruben will be captain, but I wouldn't rule it out. Like, he's on. When I make a short list of the players that are at squad now, he's in the sort of final 3 or 4. Like, I'd obviously, if people come in and sign, is different. But like, I've got Ruben. Yusuf Salic is probably the one I would go for at the moment. But you've got like Ruben. You've got Yusuf, and then, you know, Harry NG maybe, depending on things. Because with Perry, like, I don't know. I don't know if he's happy. I don't know if he's staying. I don't know. Like, at his best, I think he'd be a no-brainer for captain. Will we see his best again? I just don't know. Really helpfully, my screen's gone off with the comments, so we're gonna have to leave Alex's comment on there for a second. Just keep commenting, and I'll keep chatting, and then I'll add to it in a minute. But Callum O'Dowd had left today. I wanted to have a look at some of the comments to see what you guys thought was a fair price, because I think we, as a club, we sell really badly, and I believe that I think we could have got more for him. Honestly, from what I've heard about in terms of prices today. And look, it's only like secondhand information, so maybe the price is wrong and stuff, but it just feels like he signed a new contract in what, January? Like, to me, I think we should have been getting at least a million, like, upfront. But I also, Israel, isn't it? We're looking, and I wonder, are we having to sell before we buy? Is that another element to it? Is the sale rumors playing into us spending money? That's another element to it. Like, there's all these different elements that are contributing to why people are starting to get a little bit twitchy. Now, I think that it's too early to worry, but I understand why people are worrying. So I guess we'll see, and I guess we'll work it out. Yeah, my webcam's still not working, so we're sticking with the phone. But it's not phone; it's the 3G, the 8K thingamajiggy. Sorry, I'm trying to get the comments back up, guys. That's what I'm trying to do. Not ignoring you. Right, yeah. So, like, to me, I just thought we could have maybe got a little bit more for him, but how do you guys feel about losing Callum O'Dowda? Because I think, in one way, it's a great signing. In another way, great sale, like, because we're trying to get those mobile, more athletic, more aggressive players. On the flip side of that, he's one of the very, 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 very few leaders that we've got. And some will say, well, he wasn't a great leader, and this, that, and the other. But he led by example, and his example was absolutely exemplary. So, and you've lost that from that squad. Do I think he was do I think he's our best left back? No, I don't. But he wanted to play left back. So, yes, could managers say, tell him where you'll play? Of course they could. But you've also got to keep your playing squad happy. And he didn't want to play at left wing. And people sometimes don't realise these things. Ultimately, I would have liked to have kept Callum O'Dowda. I would have. And I think, look, he was supposed to be going to Hull, wasn't he? And then that fell through. But I had messaged a friend yesterday and said, I still think he'll go, and I think it'll happen quite quickly, because he is he'd been speaking to different people. Right, I'm going to give up on the comments. I'm going to do it on the camera. I'm going to leave that, and I'll bring him up another way. So I don't get distracted that way, do I? So get your questions in. Tomorrow night, the 1927 Club returns with Matt and Rhys. Evan's having the night off. Did a great job last night in his solo show. I did pop on for 10 minutes, but that was just because I had just got back and I wanted to say hello. Evan did a phenomenal job, so cannot fault him for that. I don't know what's going on with my computer, but it is having issues. Hopefully you can all hear me. I'm going to have to try and check, because something's going on, and I want to check that I'm still on it. How do you become a member? Someone just said. So you can join on the Cardiff City World YouTube. Just press join. After you subscribe, you press join, and it'll give you 2 tiers. Or you can go to patreon.com/acepodcastnation, and you can join one of the tiers there. You get exactly the same access and content. And there's actually my first attempt at a vlog is out tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock for members, which is from yesterday. My vlog of visiting Omar Isa. It's not great, like, because I'm just not my comments, like, So what's that say? This is bugging me that I can't see the comments. Really, really upset. So, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in another way. I'm nothing if not a trier. So we'll go in this way. Look on my phone, so I better turn the sound off so I don't get serious feedback. Whoa. What do you reckon I should have for side anthem this week for on my radio show, just while I'm trying to get the comments up? So I do a radio show on Newport City Radio, 11 till 12 on a Monday morning. And I like to, I have a side anthem each week. Here we go, I got it. So I think I'm going to put, I was thinking of Totally Addicted to Bass, but I think it's got to be an Oasis song, haven't it? But suggestions welcome. Right, I'm going to go back to the old comments now. Where was I? I was all the way back there. What's the story, Morning Glory? That'll do. Go from there. Right, so apologies about that. I don't know what's going on with my computer. My youngest son has broken it. A lot of people saying 1.5 for O'Dowda. Yeah, that's what I think. 1.5. It ain't 1.5. We sold him for about 800 grand. There is an add-on which would take it up to $1 million. So, is what it is. I trust my people because they would know. But I think it's not left. No, Two Sonoda is just not good enough, mate. Ultimately, I can't bring Time for Declan John reunion. Yeah, there was a point when he looked like a player, mind, wasn't it? You know, coming through Cardiff. So a few people saying, yeah, I can't. I can't keep up with the comments properly because I can't see who's talking to who. But I'll do my best. Some more Scottish. Grealish was captain, yeah, at Villa. Good shout from Leon there. Leon says, my pick is Darlin because I don't rate him at the moment and he needs to be good, so don't or nothing. I got a feeling he might go, mate, to be honest with you. But I just don't know. Like, Fish looks like a natural leader. I agree with that. Rhys says, honestly, a 30-year-old fullback with hamstring issues, I'd say we sold him for 500k. A little bit more than that, but not much. But he just signed a new contract. Josh says, disagree on Fish. Didn't command the box for me. Went about business well enough, though, but didn't boss it. Don't know. Interesting. There was probably a clause in his contract saying, well, I haven't said a better wage in a beautiful part of the world. Good luck to him. No, he was. He signed a new contract, and he was given permission to talk. He was given permission a couple of weeks ago to give people, give his agent to find him a new club. He was going to Hull. That fell through, and then he obviously made another decision there. So, it's one of them. This is why I say to people sometimes, I try and tell you stuff without telling you stuff. And a couple of weeks back, I had said about O'Dowda leaving, but without saying it, because I don't like the in and know stuff, and I don't like what it brings. So I try not to do it, but I also try to give you some good stuff. Josh says, what videos you got lined up this week? So, got a members only video in the morning, which is just a vlog from yesterday. Like I said, it's not one of my skill sets. I got to be honest, but it was cool enough, I suppose. So that's our 9 or 10, I think. And we've got a Cyber Mansberg recruitment report at lunchtime tomorrow. We've got the 1927 Club in the night. Sunday lunchtime, I think, is the video about Keane Ashford under Brian Barry Murphy. And who else was there? Isaac Davis video. No, done the Perry and G one. A couple of recruitment reports, a few different ones, like, you know. Ian Dalglish says roll with it. Yeah, that's a good shout, mate. Macanish7 says Skin Dread nobody. That's a good one. And Skin Dread from Newport as well. Like that. Salic is captain. Johnny says. Sue said glad he didn't go to a rival. Yeah, I think that's right. Mark says he thinks Robertson will be next out the door. Calmo Dada had his chips last season, 30 years of age, injury proven. We move on. Yeah, I think, like I said before, like I don't think it's the end of the world that he's gone. I probably wouldn't have sold him at the moment just because we don't have anyone in, and I think we're very light on left backs now. Depending on what they decide what to do with Louis Giles, I guess. Yeah, it's that I get it now. Leon said, "You wish he was as good as at defending and crossing as he was a decent bloke." Yeah, exactly that, mate. It's one of them, and Sue says she thinks Barry Bannon will go to a championship club. I don't know because he is getting on, and he didn't start as many games last year either. So maybe he'd want a drop down. Mark said there's going to be a youngster that nobody's talking about that'll get his chance in the first team and take it. 100%, mate. It could be Troy Perry, it could be Nayakawa, it could be anyone. Like, it's one of them, isn't it? Josh says, would you rather Ken Show can only sign players based on how well they negotiate a used car deal, or Paddy Du Bois can only scout talent by watching YouTube highlight reels from 2012? Mate, yeah, I don't know. Neither, really, to be honest with you. Ken Show's negotiating, probably. I think we need to sort out our recruitment big time. I think we need to sort out how we scout players as well. From some of the stuff I heard last year, like a lot of the time the scouting team or the analysis scouts who are like in charge of finding players for the manager to bring in spent a lot of their time watching our games. It's like, what are you watching our games for? Go and watch some teams. But there we go. It is what it is. Paul says, seeing players who've already left, I'm not surprised that O'Dowda has left. Good, honest players, but the last season, I think we saw flaws appearing in his game at left back. Yeah, like he's not a left back, is he? I think that's the be all and end all of it. But I think he also knew that he didn't have the legs to play further forward, if that makes sense. Richard Newell disagreeing with someone on O'Dowda, but I'm just looking what he was disagreeing with. Glad he's gone, but only as it gives the younger players more of a chance. But his effort and passion was great. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Done that. Chambers, yeah. I don't think there's been a great deal of interest. I did hear that he was there was a championship team interested in him, but then it fell through. So I just don't know. I haven't heard a lot. I've got to be honest. Sue says she'd rather Salic concentrate on scoring than captain. Josh says, "Come on, Ansar. You know what positions we need. BBM will know what he needs, but who would you get? Names. Well, who would I sign or try to sign? Oof. I would have liked to have got Sorba Thomas, but I believe he's gone. He went somewhere, didn't he? Because he could play wing back or on the wing. I would get Darko Gyabi. I think he's an excellent footballer. and he adds a bit of bite. We need like a really direct, skillful winger. Like, who do I like? There's like 3 wingers at Peterborough which I liked last year. Like, I like Jay Jones, I like Poku, and then there's the other one, Adoma, I think it is. I would get O'Connell from Wrexham. So I'd get O'Connell from Wrexham. Darko Gyabi would be one. I wouldn't be against bringing Sivert Manswerk back as well and letting one midfielder go, whether that's Wintle or maybe Turnbull. Not sure it's going to work for Turnbull at Cardiff. I don't know. I think we need to find him a role and kind of stick to it with Turnbull. In my opinion, we absolutely need pace in the wide areas and the forward line. We need a midfielder, need an experienced centre back, and I think we need a left back. Cody Dramer, I'd get, because he can do a variety of roles and he's good at it. So that would be, off the top of my head, mate, that's probably the best I can do for you. Or someone said about Charlie Savage. I do really, really like Charlie Savage. I'm thinking about doing an updated recruitment report. I can't believe Galbraith went to Swansea. That's just depressing. He's a proper player, him as well. Akavy. Yeah, all of them are gone from Peterborough, haven't they, apart from Adoa. I just think we need to find the right role in the team for David Turnbull. Like, he's definitely got ability, but at the moment he feels like just a bit of a meh player. And I don't mean that like in a disrespectful way. I just mean it like he hasn't found where he best fits. Charlie Savage is a real good shout. We did a scout report on him last year, or was it last year or the year before, when he basically, we said like he had a lot of attributes, and he's even better now because he's played a lot of first team football last year. I would definitely look to get Savage in. Darko Gyabi is one who's worked with the manager before, so it makes sense. Turnbull, I think Turnbull's got like almost every attribute you want from a midfielder, but I can't work out what he is, because I don't think he's a 6. Maybe he is a 6. Maybe he's like a ball playing 6 who's just reads the game and keeps the ball moving. I don't think he's got enough energy to be a box to box 8. Could be a deep line playmaker, sort of just sit and pull the strings. Maybe I didn't like him at the 10 because I didn't think he looked comfortable with his back to goal. But he's got, like, for instance, he's got really good set piece delivery. Like, he's definitely got attributes. I just don't know the best role for him. And obviously the manager will look at that now. And this manager has used a range of systems. He's used like a old school 4-3-3 with like 1 number 6 and 2 really dynamic 8s, like Bellamy does at home. And maybe that's what we see from this manager, is maybe at home we see like what Bellamy does with a 4-3-3, with the 2 8s being really aggressive. But then away from home, we see more like a 3-3-4-3 or a 3-5-2 or something. I know he's been drilling 3 at the back a little bit, which I've said many times. A lot of the players in this squad, I think, suit a 3 at the back system. So I'm not that disappointed to hear that. Sue says Turnbull looks good in training. Graham says, I think BBM is waiting to see how the players do in the friendlies before we sign anyone. McAnish says, damn, Sorba's great, and I'm Scottish. Josh says, Charlie Savage, great shout. Joe Rules mould. Yeah. Cody Dramer for Chambers in a swap deal. That would be immense. But I don't think Hull want someone on that much wages, do they? Although they wouldn't involve fee, so they can do it, I suppose. We don't have a left-footed midfielder anymore. There's Josh. Yeah, we've been doing both systems. What's your lineup in both systems? Well, as it is now, oof. So I'm hoping that if he goes the three at the back, it's not 3-4-3 with 2 10s. I'm hoping he goes 3-5-2 old school, and he goes. So with the players that are there now, I would go with left, or I just go with Lawler, Fish, and NG as the centre backs. I'd go Bagan left wing back, or Giles, I suppose. Kepaki out right wing back. And then in midfield, I would go Eli King and Alex Robertson with Ruben in the 10, or like in a 8 role alongside Eli King and Robertson. And then up front, I'd have Isaac Davis and Yusuf Salic, or Kian Ashford and Yusuf Salic. That's what my 3-5-2 would be at the moment. If it was a 4-3-3, the midfield would be the same. The back four, Bagan would be left back. Right back would be NG or Kipakiao. As it is, I'm going Fish and Lawler, probably. And up front, Yusuf Salic, Kian on the right, Isaac Davis on the left. Probably about right, I think. Probably about it. But I think we need players, don't we? But that's somewhere about where I am with the players we've got at the moment. Rhys just says, just been asked about Warren Davis, a Droghid striker. Any truth on? I haven't heard that, mate. I'll do some checking though and get back to you. I know we were looking at some Irish players. Yeah, like the 3-4-3, you are right, is good for creating boxes and it's good for pressing. And that's why a lot of managers are using that rather than like an old school 3-5-2. I think Yusuf could do quite well with like an Isaac Davis with him, maybe even a Kian. But then if I was going to do 3-4-3 and it was like 2 10s off Yusuf, as it is now, I'd probably use Yusuf and I'd probably use Kian and Ruben. Although I think there would be an argument to play Wintle and King as the holders and then play Robertson and Ruben in that particular system to create box. Like ultimately, that's what teams are trying to do with the way they press and the different systems is they're trying to create boxes all over the pitch, which allows them to create overloads and then switch the play. It's just that Cardiff weren't very good at doing it last year at times. They had the system and the idea, they just didn't implement it. And I think a big problem of that was partially because of the way we pressed. It was a bit disjointed. But we did talk about that yesterday. So we got like a little bit of an insight into why that was and different things. He did say he'd never once told to sit back and like stick with the lead, but there's obviously different things. Let's have a look. Warren Davis. Warwick Davis. Look, right. And I'll kind of wrap up on this, to be honest. I was told by someone last week who's involved at the club, not in a really football side, but sometimes in a football side. And then they had been speaking to a certain member of the kind of recruitment process. And it had been said to them that the players the players that they need are just not available. And I looked at this guy and I was like, what? And that was what he said. And he repeated it. And I said, that's just like scandalous because there's so many players. And this is the problem is Brian Barry Murphy, right? will have said either the exact player that he wants, or he will have said the profile of player that he wants, the traits, the physique, whatever it may be, the age. But he'll have given a good idea. And you're telling me that they can't find those players? I don't believe that. Now, of course, that was from a non-footballing person, so maybe the message got misconstrued, or it got lost in whatever, and it's second, third hand. But I could never, ever, ever accept that, because with the way the internet is. So here's an example, right? And I don't know if I'm going to turn this into a video. I did it with the intent of turning it into a video, and I've written it out and saved some of the clips and stuff for reference. I did a bit of investigation, right, into the information that was out there on Wilfred Kanga last year. So I looked on Y-Scout, which is a software which professional clubs use. I looked on FBref, which is the most detailed website of stats. I looked on a few other different places. I looked at the video clips that were available on Y-Scout of him, and I came to the conclusion, because we never watched him in person, I came to the conclusion, how could anybody who understands football even a little bit have looked at this information and these stats and this data, and then gone and looked on Y-Scout and his profile and his clips, and thought that it was a good idea to sign him, or thought that it was going to be anything different to what it was, is mind-boggling. Rocco Simic has been treated quite shoddily by Cardiff City Football Club. I don't think he's done himself favours at times, but I have had it confirmed by someone who would absolutely know that there was no problems with his attitude. And when you take out that, he's been treated like shit. And then lastly, got to ask a question, haven't you, right? Tucanoda, I don't think will ever kick a football for Cardiff City first team in a competitive game. Wilfred Kanga should never have kicked a football for Cardiff City. Rocco Simic didn't. Why are these players coming if they're not good enough? Is it a problem with the scouting, the analysis, the recruitment? Or is there a more seedy, underbelly, dirty reason from that side of football that we all don't really know enough about in terms of the financials? Because I can't think of a reason why we've signed at least 4 players in the last 2 years that either A, should never have been in the club, or have never really been at the club, even though they were at the club. Like, that's a question for me, and that's a weird one. It's a weird place to finish, but I don't really understand it. But if people really, 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 really want that sort of Wilfred Kanga video, I'll do it. I can't show the video clips because of copyright, but it's not. I don't really want to leather the guy. We all know he wasn't very good, and it was more. My angle was more asking the question of how the recruitment team, how it got through, because it was a weird one, But there we go. It is what it is. Right, a couple more comments before we finish. Let's have a look. I'm really sorry. I can't see the Twitter comments at the moment because, yeah, it's just don't know what's going on. Yeah, I can't see the Twitter comments, unfortunately. So if you commented on Twitter, I'm really sorry. I'm not ignoring you, because I know there's 150 odd people watching on Twitter. I can't read it. If it was something really interesting and pressing, send it over to me and I'll answer it on Sunday's show, where I'll get all my computers. I don't know what's going on with it. So I'll get it all fixed and I'll get the comments up and running. But just looking. Just have a look. Josh says NG Fish Lawler would be his back three. Pacquiao, Giles wing backs. King, Colwell's in centre mid, and Ashford and someone else off Salic. Interesting. No, I can do it. Salic wasn't potluck, mate. He had to really fight to get that one through. And he talked about it yesterday, so I'll leave that to it for him to explain. But there's a couple of names in Scotland who I'd go after, mate. But again, I wouldn't trust Cardiff's scouting to do it, which is an issue. But hopefully Brian Barry Murphy's going to bring a bit more. He's going to level up the recruitment and the analysis, hopefully. Rhys says, if we keep Chambers, Darlin and Fish, surely that means no place for Lawler. I wonder if the club will look to move him on, or maybe Chambers. Could you see Chambers playing at centre-back this year after what we saw last year? Oof, painful. I think we'll try and move Darlin on if possible, mate, if I'm being honest. So look. So no, it's not Lee Riley who's doing that side of it. It is, forgotten his name. It's the analysis guy that he brought in, because he did bring in like a couple of people, but they just didn't announce them very well when they made the announcements. What was his name? Not Kevin Gibbons. He was the coach, the strength and conditioning guy. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm really sorry. I can't remember his name. I will try to find out. And that was it. Oh, what was his bloody name? Yeah, I can't find it. And yeah, I did retweet it the other day, if that's any use. Yeah, I'm planning to do a video on him. The Spotlight series, which is coming, is going to be the Academy Spotlight and then the Spotlight. The Spotlight will be based on first team staff, first team players, and the Academy obviously will be the Academy players and whatnot. If you can become a member, please do. If not, then thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, as always. Like, the memberships are literally just what allows us to do like 2 videos a day most days, and do it 7 days a week is the thing. That's the thing. Like, we're all Cardiff City fans. We all want to talk about Cardiff every single day, and yeah, that's the plan. We've got lots of plans coming up for the season. There'll be content here constantly, and it's always good. I'd love to anyone explain what YouTube XP is, because I have no idea what it is, and I just see these purple boxes when I'm reading the comments off YouTube. I don't know what it is, but anyway, maybe I should look into that. As always, it has been a pleasure. I really appreciate you. If you can become a member, join on Cardiff City World YouTube, or go to patreon.com/acepodcastnation. Thank you very much, and I will see you soon. Keep the faith. See you in a bit.